Hello and welcome back. Thank you so much for being here. If you're new, I'm very excited to have you. Please go ahead and subscribe on YouTube, Rumble, and Substack for additional content. You will find all of my social platforms linked in the description below. Today I've got a story for you that, quite shockingly, somehow did not make headlines this week. While the mainstream media is cherry-picking the news that is 100% guaranteed to keep you distracted from the reality, we simply don't have the time or the resources to start seeing the patterns and to start putting two and two together. These days, it actually does require us to go out of our way to seek the news that matters. This week, a major American corporation has been sold to a foreign country. U.S. Steel, founded in 1901 by J.P. Morgan, Charles Schwab, and Andrew Carnegie, is sold to the Japanese company Nippon Steel for just a little under $15 billion in cash, $14.9 billion to be exact. While for some this might appear to be business as usual, the deal is very detrimental to the U.S. industrial capacity. It poses risks to steel workers who may see some of their jobs being moved to the states with lower wages. And of course, there are some national security concerns too that should not be ignored. Besides car makers, renewable energy companies are among those whom U.S. Steel supplies with its products. These partnerships are said to be among the things that the bidders found extremely attractive, since the Inflation Reduction Act provides multiple tax credits and other incentives to the companies that do business with the renewable energy sector. So now Nippon Steel, a Japanese company, will be taking advantage of those government incentives. The purchase price is roughly 7.5 times annual earnings of U.S. Steel, while the industry expectation for this type of a transaction would be up to 7 times greater than the company earnings. So Nippon Steel is clearly very willing to cut the deal, even if they end up overpaying for the assets that they purchase. And we have to ask ourselves, why are they willing to overpay? Nobody's talking about it as if it doesn't matter. The deal was made earlier this week after an auction where such companies as Cleveland-Cliffs, Arcelor, a Luxembourg steel company, and Nucor participated. Nucor is the largest U.S. steel maker right now. Both Cleveland-Cliffs and Nucor, American companies, made extremely appealing bids, but the decision was made to accept a foreign bidder. Reuters is telling us that this is great news for the United States company because it will allow it to benefit from U.S. government incentives. It is a bid that U.S. Steel will benefit from the spending and tax incentives in President Joe Biden's infrastructure bill. Following union strikes and new deals that were made with the union, steel prices are expected to rise since inputs are now more expensive. So union workers are extremely concerned that the new management will try to cut costs and lower their wages. The party that will truly benefit from this deal is, of course, Japan's Nippon Steel. At this time, it takes the 4th place in the entire world as a steel producer. And so the purchase of U.S. Steel will allow it to substantially expand its U.S. market share. It's a win for Japan's Nippon Steel and a clear loss to the United States, as its oldest steel company becomes an asset in the hands of a foreign global entity. Nippon is already present in the United States through joint ventures with other steel makers that are not unionized, by the way, as well as through Standard Steel and Wheeling Nippon Steel that it directly owns. So the purchase of U.S. Steel is a truly large expansion step for the Japanese company, since it means that the world's 4th largest steelmaker buys the 27th largest steel producer. We should also discuss how the unions reacted. American workers at the United Steelworkers Union are not thrilled to see the sale. And the reason why they're so worried is because they're not comfortable with their labor rights and prior labor agreements being upheld under Nippon's management. United Steelworkers are saying that they are against the acquisition, and their goal is to protect the family-sustaining jobs that they bargained. It makes perfect sense. It has to be reported that the union has no rights to legally prevent the transaction from going through as long as the acquiring company promises to honor prior labor agreements. Of course, this is how things typically work, right? When something does go wrong, and we know that it will because that's how these things happen, it will be too late. What do our lawmakers say? We're seeing a very limited amount of opposition to this foreign sale. Primarily, it comes from those U.S. senators and representatives who are from the area and whose constituents would be impacted. 2024 is coming up. It's the election year, right? On Tuesday, a letter was sent to Treasury Secretary Yellen requesting that the Committee on Foreign Investments blocks the sale. Yellen is the chair of the Committee on Foreign Investments, by the way. So if this deal is okayed and it goes through, it will be her direct responsibility and her choice. There is some opposition, I would say, but absolutely not nearly as much as perhaps you would expect, which should raise some questions too, don't you think? The U.S. Committee on Foreign Investments has yet to review the deal for national security risks and antitrust issues, but based on my research on the commentary of lawmakers that I've read through, nobody is expecting any roadblocks at this point in time. The sale of U.S. steel to any foreign country, it doesn't have to be Japan, any foreign, the keyword is foreign entity, is a major blow to the United States people and the U.S. economy. Steel is such an essential product that handing it over to those who don't have our interests in mind seems to be quite short-sighted, to say the least. I'm also somewhat surprised that the union was not involved in the decision-making process, as it directly, first and foremost, impacts American workers and their well-being. Do you think that the deal should be allowed to go through? Are you concerned at all? Leave me a comment below, let me know what you think. I look forward to reading through your commentary on this. Thank you for watching. Please give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, if it was informative. Share and subscribe to my channels on Rumble and YouTube. I would love to have you back for my next one tomorrow. Find me on Substack, where, among other things, every single Friday afternoon you will find a weekly newsletter with the key events and economic data that will help you stay up to date on the most important events. I will see you in my new one tomorrow. Have a great rest of your day. Bye for now.